late last year, we finished the project. It was a JW Marriott in the Masai Mara. I love that, right?
I love Africa.
I think when you get to challenge yourself in terms of design in different environments, I think that's what makes the whole journey of creativity very special.
So, Kristina, thank you very much for joining me. Now, I've been fascinated with your work. And I know some colleagues in our industry call you the queen of design also. And I also personally have some projects which I follow thoroughly. Now, through the research, I found out some very interesting facts. In fact, I was not also aware that you were the co-founder for DWP.
No, really? Okay.
Yeah, I was not aware. Only through the research process I found it out. And then that your sister is an architect.
Mm-hmm.
That was
right.
interesting. Then you've done your BSc in human environment.
That's right.
You lived in Thailand for 18 years.
That's right.
Have projects in 23 countries so far. But tell us more. I think the last time all these information were updated online, I'm sure more happened. The most recent I know is the St. Regis Riyadh.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about your most interesting project at the moment that is on top of the mind.
Okay. Well, it's great to be here today, and it's always a pleasure. It's amazing what people can find about one person on the internet these days. Hopefully, I was always trying to be incognito, but I'm not sure that's possible. But in terms of projects, we can't sort of really put anything into a particular category. We like to think of our projects all as being unique and, addressing what our clients need. And some are sort of on the tip of the scale when it comes to really pushing the boundaries for creativity. And others are a little bit more sort of general and renovations that need to be sort of looked at from a time and budget perspective. But we're working on some amazing projects at the moment, still in Saudi Arabia. I would say some of those are really kind of fascinating. We're just about to start a project in Turkey and another one in Albania. So we're really excited in Albania. Yeah. And I love the fact that we're able to open up these new markets and really try and put our mark on the hospitality industry in particular in these locations. In fact, actually, the other day, we also speaking to a client who just would like us to do something in Baghdad. So, for me, travel has always been an inspiration. Wherever we go and have an opportunity to go or try to open up new places, I think for me, this is just something that sort of keeps the fire in me going. A lot of my team always say, you have more energy than we do. And they're like half the...
Traveling to 70 countries is what I...
Yeah, I did. I did one of those things that you get on an app, just to see how many countries I've been to. And, when you only can put one down for America or some of the bigger continents and things like that. But actually, I think now it's been about 79 countries. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's been an amazing, life, I think, of being able to travel. And when you can combine travel and work together, I think that's the ultimate goal and really keeps you fired. So if you ask me about which project is sort of the most exciting, we sign a lot of NDAs, so I can't tell you everything, but there are some amazing things we're doing, whether it's over the water or in a desert, even something that's here locally that we're working on. They're all really exciting, and they do push the boundaries in terms of design. So, I can't pinpoint particularly one, but, we're working on some amazing things just everywhere, around the region, around the world. And, we have a wonderful project in Lahore, and we're really starting to get to know the city, with all the research we're doing, from the design and creative perspective, as well as researching for the art perspective as well, getting to understand the culture, the people. It's really fascinating. So yeah, I guess that keeps me alive still. But I wouldn't say there's one project that's kind of the pet project, But, we finished this year, or late last year, we finished the project. It was a JW Marriott in the Masai Mara. I love that. Right?
I love Africa myself. So as a team, when we started working on such things, Africa is the first market, including Humi as well. We have spent time from 2012 to 2020, only Africa. And it is because of these developments here, now we shifted our focus to Middle East. So we're very passionate about Africa, the people and the culture.
Oh, it's amazing.
And this was the only project I was going to ask, from you as to, your experiences and things like that with Masai.
Yeah. Well, we were really fortunate, and it's very rare to get project like that, and I think that's always been on my bucket list. So if I had my top 10 projects, a lodge would.
This is in amidst Masai Mara.
Yeah, it's right in the Mara, in the plains, in the savannah, basically on the river, on the actual Masai Mara River there. It's an amazing lodge. The developer really wanted to create a boutique lodge. It has about 20 tents. They're all very luxurious, very generous in size, which is really lovely. But it also has the facilities of a hotel. There's a small spa, there's a gym, there's a pool, outdoor pool. There's, of course, a large restaurant, lots of deck areas, and so forth. And, the whole site is situated around this tree. And the tree is so beautiful. I mean, for me, and I have long arms, it'd need to be about 5 of me to hug this tree. It is really beautiful. So, to get to go to places like that and then really research more culturally, some of the inspiration.
Masai tribe? For sure.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. I've always really had a fascination with going on safari. I think it's one of the top things people must do in their lifetime, just to see.
So you've seen the migration?
Yes, yeah. I've even done a hot air balloon over the plains, which is really amazing. When I first started Kristina Zanic Consultants, now it's about 12, 13 years ago, I took my whole team. We were working on a project in Kenya, actually in Nairobi. So my whole team had come. There was about 10 of us at the time. We decided that after the project, we set up the project, and then I took everyone on safari, and, it was an amazing experience. So yeah, I recommend everyone to do it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's such a coincidence that you yourself bought up the Masai, JW Masai, out of the many projects that you worked on. So that's...
Yeah, actually for me, it's just... those sort of projects don't come often, so I'm not saying that a hospitality project that we do in a city is any more important or less important. But I think when you get to challenge yourself in terms of design in different environments, I think that's what makes the whole journey of creativity very special. And it's that research we do, I think research. The more we can research, the better our projects become, and we can start to bring in all these touch points and authenticity of a location, originality as well, transferring things in a more contemporary way. People don't want to do everything always traditionally, so we always have to push the boundary. So yeah, we kind of enjoy that aspect of the creative process.
Research, I think in today's world, and even in the job that we do, bringing people together, research is a very natural process. But I've always wondered, as I'm sure there are, like, you've done your study and you're sort of trained to do what you do. But it's always fascinated to me, and I think a lot of them will be watching this podcast as well are not necessarily, even though they might be working in the industry, they don't have the real insights of how our research is transforming into what we see. What I mean is, you cannot get it wrong, because if you are creating something in Masai and you are researching culturally, you have to, take a lot of aspects into the play. Has it anytime gone wrong?
Oh gosh, I think sometimes you have to be culturally sensitive about what you can say. But when we prepare our design, initial thinking, when we're creating these storyboards, we always have to prepare a narrative. We have to come up with a story that gives us some sort of depth and knowledge of a place, whether it's inspirations from culture or the physical environment or the history of a location. We can get inspired from a lot of things. But I do think some clients can be very touchy on certain things. We did a project recently, and it was in Azerbaijan, and we did this research on motifs and patterns within the culture, and we wanted to transfer that motif into a design of some sort of art and fabric embroidery that was being done. And, we worked on that and we had it done and everyone was happy with it. And then when you ask what went wrong, what could have gone wrong, someone looked at one of the patterns and said, well, that's not an Azerbaijani pattern. They thought it was something from another nearby country. And, so we had to go back and then look at the research, and we sort of showed them the research, and that they were certainly convinced that that particular pattern was not local. So then we had to revisit that particular art piece and the embroidery by giving it more research, getting information from them to be able to do it. So sometimes things go wrong, and people are very culturally sensitive, about certain things, symbols that may represent their culture. So I think, we have to keep researching well, making sure even where we get our research from is correct as well. So whilst, there's a lot out there on the internet that can really ignite some sort of design inspiration, I think...
And there's a lot of misinformation.
There's a lot of misinformation too, but, actually we took our inspiration from a book that was published, but yet there was a controversy over one particular pattern. So we then made sure that we re-looked at that and changed it, So, yeah, there you go. Things can actually go the wrong way and really start to bring up this conversation.
And you, like with all these research and talking to clients and blending and things like that, I'm sure you are also sometimes thinking about the culture that you're touching upon, which is the region you're working on.
Wow, yeah. All the time, and I think, that's what makes every project, a little more authentic, because when you can touch on the culture and bring some sort of inspiration from that culture into the project, and it could be just purely from a service point of view, not necessarily from a design point of view, but we have to take that into consideration. And I think, places like Saudi Arabia have changed greatly. I mean, I've been going there for the last probably 17 years. I've been traveling there, and more often over the last decade, I would say. But culturally, they've changed a lot, and we have to respect that culture. I think that's really important. But they're also becoming very international as well. So how do we contemporize some of the design that we're doing to suit the culture, but not be disrespectful in any particular way? So, it's a good balancing act, between design, research, culture, history, and making something more contemporary, because everyone's looking for something that's a little bit more modern and with it today, right? So, yeah, we have to be mindful.
And which of these cultures have sort of impacted you the most? I'm sure there are I can imagine with 23 countries, multiple
projects,
cultures, diverse set of people that you deal with.
Actually, we did a project in Croatia and also in Montenegro. And I think that for me...
And you were born...
Yeah, I was born in Australia, actually, but my parents are Croatian.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm first generation Croatian Australian, actually. So, but my mum and dad, we, culturally at home, it's very much Croatian. We speak Croatian. I think all the food we eat is Croatian. All our friends and family friends are Croatian. I went to Croatian school, Croatian church, and there's a big community, a sports community. So you're always with Croatian people. And I think, they brought to Australia a very different take on the culture. It's very kind of preserving the culture that we had. And when we went to do this project in Croatia, it was really interesting because we got to know the mentality of the people and the expectations of the people. So when we collaborated with some of the clients there, it was really interesting to get their thought process because we totally understood, what they were thinking and how they were doing it. In fact, we were working on a really beautiful Marriott Ritz-Carlton project in Montenegro. And we discovered so much more about the Montenegrin culture, actually, and how they actually planned their cities. There was always a bell tower in every city. They had this structure called a gumno, actually, in all of their structures. And it was this kind of a circular pit, basically, that was made out of stone or different sort of materials. And it was a gathering place for people to come to. So this word gumno, I'd never even heard of it, right? But actually we sort of learned more about that. And then in the design of the actual project, we had these beautiful terraces that were able to get people together to look at the view of the beautiful sea. And also these herb gardens where the kitchens were and so forth. They created these herb gardens. And what they did was they made them all circular, like this gumno. Gumno, I know. And and I'll never forget that word. But actually, our design then revolved around these community gathering spaces, which were these gumnos, which is something very much in that culture. So, yeah, we got to research a lot. And you actually learn a lot about a culture. And I got to learn more about the Balkans as well. They're tough-headed people, very stubborn. And, as we work in that way, we sort of see their sort of angst and passion, actually. So yeah, it's really lovely. You get to really experience a lot of cultures in different ways, and how you take that back and transfer it into design, is really thinking out of the box and doing something differently, but keeping it authentic.
Anything that interesting that you found out about Saudi Arabia?
I think,
generally we will know culturally.
I think generally, everyone has a good idea of certain things, but I think we learn something new every day. I think, one of the big things is privacy, how everyone wants privacy. But I sometimes think from a design point of view, we take it too far. People there are really well-traveled and they expect privacy like anyone does. Discreet, or how we design something, creating everything in more compartmentalized. Do we keep it open plan, whether bedrooms are? But I think sometimes we actually overthink it in design. Recently, we also investigated looking at oud and the smell of oud and incense sticks and things like that, and how they were used in culture, in the culture there, and how they're used today. It's kind of very different. So I'm very fortunate. My business partner in Saudi Arabia, Mani, she really has...
She won an award.
Yeah, she won an award this year. We're very proud of the fact that she won Interior Designer in Saudi at the CID Awards. So that was really amazing. And, it's designers like Amani who are really stepping up and really putting interior design at the forefront, and also giving a chance to educate us who aren't, embedded in the culture, and telling us also how far can we go? How can we push the boundaries on certain things? Sometimes we surprise ourselves, we think, really, can we do that? We question it. But, it's really having a team, and some of the younger generation now that are joining us, they're also helping us understand the culture as well. So they get involved a lot in the initialization, conceptualization of our projects, because they have a different spin on it. So, we're very fortunate with a larger group and many different offices. Sometimes when a client wants 6 different concepts, we actually get our different offices to work on one concept. And then it's really interesting to see what the client actually picks, which concept do they pick. So currently we had our Philippines office do something, our Thai office do something, the Saudi office is doing something, and the Dubai office. But for a project in Saudi. So you get this really different take. What is our interpretation of design in Saudi Arabia? Or are we looking at it more internationally? So sometimes it's hard to know what the client or the operator is looking for, and they want to look at things out of the box. So by having different teams and different offices and different cultures, we have I think in our office we have 30 cultures, that we work with, which is really amazing. And I think 26 of those are in Dubai. So it's really great to get that different perspective. And I think it always gives us an opportunity to look at design in different ways through different lenses. So this is an exciting part of what we're doing. So sometimes we don't have to travel afar for our clients' projects, but we really like to experiment with the various teams because there's a different take on something.
You're a travel bug.
Yeah, definitely.
What about travel that sort of influences you the most? Is it the people? I think it's people, because
definitely people. It's definitely people and their stories and meeting them. And one of the things I've always liked to do is to travel to places where people don't want to go. That's my motto, right?
Tell me 1 or 2 such places that, less traveled.
Well, Arunachal Pradesh, I think half the people from India have never been to Arunachal Pradesh, right?
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
And when I first went there, I think they were only giving about 50 visas a year to go to Arunachal Pradesh. And we flew into Calcutta at the time, or Kolkata, and we traveled the Brahmaputra River on a shanty boat,
I've done it.
You've never done it?
No.
Yeah, so we were very lucky. And I traveled with some people who were part of a team from Associated Press and National Geographic. They were doing stories, and I got to be part of this small team, and we went to Tawang. The destination was Tawang, where there's the second largest Buddhist monastery outside of Lhasa, but it's actually in India. And we traveled to a village called Mukto. And it was such an experience of the people. People are still wearing their cultural dress there. There was a guy with a huge, sword, and we were like, wow, this is kind of amazing. It's like going back in time. And I think, just meeting the people, in the evenings, they invite you to have dinner. We're sitting around a fire. They're talking stories. And one of the funniest stories I think I have is I was with 4 other people. One was Irish, one was English, the other was Thai, and one was Czech, and we went to this village and nobody in the village spoke English. And the village headman asked us to come to their village, to the center of the town. And we went to his home there, and everyone's looking at each other and no one knows how to communicate. No one can communicate much. And we were like, okay, even our guide who was with us, he didn't speak the language or the dialect of this particular location of this village. And then we decided, okay, what are we going to do? So the Irish guy decided to sing an Irish song, and so we were entertaining the village people with this Irish song. I didn't know the song myself, but so then they sang another song, one of their songs. So it's really amazing. The beauty of communication with people can be in many different ways. And I kind of love the fact that no one from the village spoke English, right? So we had to do it via music. So it was a really lovely experience. And then we exchanged, they gave us this beautiful, some of their handcrafted fabrics and clothing items, and they gave me this wonderful hat, and the hat was made out of yak hair. And the yak hair had these points at the end, and we always wondered, what are those points for? And they said that when it rained and they wore that hat, the rain actually went down these pointy bits of the woven yak hair, and that it was just dripping, so it never actually wetted anyone's face. So, all these really interesting cultural things that you learn about the people, and through whether it be fashion or music, it's really wonderful.
Mindfulness is a word I have heard in your panel discussions many a times, in your other interviews I've seen. I think it's the most basic thing, even I believe, being mindful, being present at the moment, which I think it's not easy for everyone to be mindful and be present. How do you sort of are there any practice? Is there a formula?
Oh, there's never a formula. I think it's not just about being mindful. I think it's respectful, having, an understanding, giving people time and opportunities to, tell us about what they want or how they want it and so forth. But, being respectful, I think, in every way we do conduct our business is really important. And listening to people is one of those ways, right? So, but yeah, we're always mindful of what we're doing, how we're doing it, to represent whether it's a project or a culture or something, part of that history, with some respect. And that's very important for us as a company. Our philosophy is built on, creating experiences where they're authentic and there is a sense of originality. I think that's really important for us.
You wanted to be a physiotherapist.
Yes, exactly. I love sports medicine. I'm pretty tall, right? So being 6'2", almost 6'2", I've always loved sports and playing netball and volleyball and hockey and so forth. So I always thought I would go down that path, but somehow I guess there's more of a creative spirit in me that really led me to designing for interiors, I guess, at the end of the
day. We're glad, you are a designer and not a physiotherapist.
I still watch a lot of sport and, not
still fascinates
It still fascinates me. I mean, it fascinates me. I love watching sport and I love, there's a lot.
What's your favorite sport, by the way?
What's my favorite sport?
Which one do you spend most
watching? I mean, I used to love playing netball, but now I've become a Formula One enthusiast as well as a football enthusiast. I didn't really like football because for me, growing up in Australia, Australian rules football, that was a man's sport. Or rugby, right? And I really felt that was kind of a little bit more, not aggressive, but, a bit more tactile. Whereas football, or the English, or soccer as we call it, that was always something interesting to watch. So my other half, he got me onto that. And now I kind of really enjoy it more than him. So, I go for when his team plays, I have to go and barrack for his team. But in my mindset,
no cricket influence.
I watched cricket, and I was very fortunate that my sister and we went to a school in Adelaide. It was in North Adelaide. So we got to play an elective, and we played cricket, actually. And my sister was so fortunate one day to meet Sir Donald Bradman.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that is wow. In the cricket world. And he actually signed a miniature bat for her. And she still has that. And, and he was from Adelaide.
Prize in India.
I'm sure. So, yeah, actually, we used to love watching cricket. I love a great test match, but I really love the one-day internationals. And back then, it was always India, West Indies, South Africa, and Australia. So I used to love watching that. And, of course, Pakistan as well playing. But the one-day matches are kind of exciting. So, yeah, I do love it, though. Yeah, still. But, I hear you don't see it so often, right? It's not... Yeah. It's not played as much, I guess.
But I hope, they revive it.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, they should revive it.
all these discussions you have with clients, the spaces you create, for me, from the culture I come from, I totally believe all these are an inside job. We drive experiences from around, we can take inspiration, but eventually it's an inside job. You're dealing with something, in the inside. Do you think,
It's personal.
what I say?
I mean, I relate to that because it's personal. It becomes personal. Every project for me is personal. You got to get to know the people. You got to understand the client. It's different when we work with operators and different in projects like hospitality projects. We need to get into the brand and understand what they're looking for. But if we're working on something personal, the people there, they still have a vision, and they want us to translate that vision. So it does become personal, and it's not just about running a project at the end of the day, and I think that's what makes the journey of design really kind of special, because you do get this opportunity to work with people on a personal level, get to know them. Some of my clients from 15 years ago when I first came to the region, I still see them all the time. And in fact, I just had dinner with some of my really wonderful Bahraini friends, and I love that. And that connectivity and understanding people on a personal level actually makes our project so much more than just looking at it as a project that we have to design, and I hope my team also see that, because I do get involved a lot. I'm not always able to meet the clients on a weekly basis, but I do try and get at that opportunity to meet them, see them, work with them, whether it's in a workshop or so forth. But being personal, I think, is really important.
I think in any profession, for that matter, after a certain time, it is about what you do on the inside. It's whatever work you do is a reflection of what is.
Usually you have to be passionate.
But in a job like yours, I think, is too intimate, very intense. You got to maintain the creative balance.
Yeah, look, everyone's always looking for that wow factor.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever stopped. And we always have to sort of design with originality, which I've mentioned, a few times. I think that's really important. But once you get to know a client and their vision and get to know them and what their expectations, but also challenge them, right? For me, sometimes design is about persevering, as well. It's about making sure that we listen, making sure we come up with ideas. It's not always about one idea, it's about several ideas. And then how can we put that all together? And it's the same example of working with all my officers to create different, different concept narratives for a particular project. It's getting different perspectives, really challenging the client of how we see the project, from different eyes and different people. Everything is on the global stage. Everything's on social media.
Yeah.
Everyone has a chance to comment on something, right, these days. So we have to be mindful, as we say, about that and how we approach things from a design and creative point of view.
What is the future, in the sense you've done enough work, and I also truly believe with the sort of regions you've touched on. I also read about some of your work in India.
Mm-hmm. Okay, long time. Yeah, long time ago.
I had one of my very old client, we were talking, and he saw something on the website, and that's how I got to know. So many projects across countries, multiple offices. I'm sure you've had your highs and lows and all of it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Are you searching for, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be even asking, are you searching for? I believe everyone is searching for something at, different stages of life. What is it you're searching for? What is it you're looking for? With all these people interacting, pushing boundaries, creating spaces, and, between all of this, what is it you're looking for?
If I could answer that question, that would be really great. But I always sort of, if I have to step back and I think, what am I looking for personally? And we've done so many interesting things. And, every time I think we'll scale back, don't become bigger. And now we've opened our office in London and Hong Kong happening at the moment. And I think, wow, what are we doing? And actually, I think I still have a lot of fire in me and a lot of passion for the industry. I think it's very important that we are always inspired. I don't think I could retire just yet, although I'm reaching that age where I should be probably slowing down, but I don't think I'm going to slow down just yet. But what I really look for is I get such a kick out of seeing people grow, opening up these new markets in different places, meeting people and culture. If I could keep traveling and doing things, where we can also push boundaries and educate on design, especially in some of these emerging markets. My philosophy still is go to places where people don't want to go. And I've been very fortunate to travel to a lot of these really kind of countries that people would not even step into. And I'm fascinated about those locations. The idea of going to Iraq, I think it's so fascinating, from the history and the culture there and what we could learn so much, about the people. Of course, there's always political issues that go on in the world, but I just look at it from a creative point of view about meeting people. And I don't think I'll ever stop doing that, even when I'm 80 probably, But what I look for, I think, is just this satisfaction that we can be creative, be who we are, really push the boundaries and educate. I love the fact that we're able to educate the students, have an opportunity to go to universities, be part of whether they're at design awards or being a judge, doing a lot of mentorship programs. Our office does a lot of this. And for me, that's the future of design, is making sure that these young designers are thinking out original ideas. It's not all about what AI is bringing to it. These are tools, and how do we use this tool for the future of design, and we hope that the human brain can still keep us creative as much as possible and inventing things. But, there are tools out there that are helping us do things faster and quicker. But sometimes I wonder, should it be faster or quicker? But for me personally, I just love that journey. I want to keep on that journey, whether it's in a shorter capacity than what I'm doing now. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever stop wanting to travel. And I got to keep going to all those countries. There's a few more countries left on my list. Quite a lot. I think there's over 100. So
yeah, 120 more.
Yeah, 120 more. I know, that's a lot, right? That's another lifetime. So I hope I'm able to do that. But yeah, I hope I can also be a role model for young designers and maybe young women who are aspiring to have a career in design. That's important for me as well, making sure that education is at their forefront, and experience as well.
And you are at universities?
Yeah, we are all the time, and not just myself. Our marketing manager Basma, she's really been pushing us to really have an education program, whether it be in Saudi or whether it's in Thailand or even now in some of our other locations. We're looking at how can we really push education, design education. For us, that's really an important part of our social responsibility initiatives that we do as part of Kristina Zanic Consultants.
You sort of answered this, but I would like to understand how you think of this question on top of your mind. Why you do what you do?
Oh, because I love it. That's it. There's nothing else. I love it. I love it. Whilst it can be, everyone has their highs and lows. There's always that. But I think there's never a dull moment.
And when you love something, you do get hurt. And I'm very keen to know how do you deal with these things that you get hurt?
I ever get hurt, but for me, I think one of the key things is if something doesn't go right, or as you put it, if you get hurt, I think you can't think about it. You can't dwell about it. You need to look for solutions that are positive, that are going to take you forward. Never look back. Never look. Persevere. Persevere on the journey. Keep going. Get yourself up. I don't think I have a day apart from the fact when I was maybe possibly sick that I couldn't get out of bed in the morning and think I really, don't want to go to work, So I'm really an advocate of going to work and enjoying what I do. But I have to say there are a lot of challenges that are real things in business, whether it's things more like delivering on projects on time, is quality there? Have we done the best we could? It's always pushing the teams to do that, questioning the teams, giving them autonomy to make decisions, empowerment. All these things are kind of super important. And, we as a company always, I believe, more heads are better than one. We have a strategy meeting. We invite some of our senior leadership team to be part of that, to provide and give us ideas. We ask the teams themselves, all the individuals, what do they want? What do they think we need to do things differently? And then we try to implement that every year to make our work culture much more fun, and inclusive and so forth. But, it's always hard to do those things. And
how is it when you get angry?
Oh, no.
You set this all up, you
Short and sweet.
But
Short and sweet, I try not to get angry, but I would call it I get more excited than angry, actually. But yeah, again, you can't dwell on something. You can't hold a grudge on something. You just have to think about the situation, look at the negatives, the positives, and then just come up with a solution of how to tackle that and go forward.
Well, Kristina, we can go on. It was like I have not even checked how long we spoke, but I would say thank you for making me very comfortable with these questions. I thoroughly enjoyed questioning you, and I'm very certain that we will find another opportunity very quickly to touch upon some more interesting stuff.
Sure, maybe in India next time, maybe in India. But thank you very much for this opportunity and delving into some sort of darker secrets, I guess, or more of my thoughts.
There are people out there who are starting off in the industry, even people who've been in the industry for a while. They need to know more about people like you who've achieved things. How do you manage it? How do you think? What's your thinking process?
Sure. And, and like I said, earlier, we do a lot of mentorship programs. I speak at a lot of different events and with students, and it's just giving back, actually, from what I've learned, and and actually sharing those highs and lows, right? So, and that's what makes life very colorful and interesting.
Absolutely. It's not just the success, but also what goes on behind. So I hope this discussion will serve
thank you
for you and your company, as well as to the audience. And thank you very much for being totally unscripted. I loved it. I know not many will be comfortable. They won't do something like this without a set of questions in advance.
Oh, really?
So I really
it's okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Actually, I appreciate that sometimes a bit more. It puts you on the spot, but it gives you a chance to sort of say what you think and feel. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, and I will look forward to the next one.
Great. Thank you very much.